Hello, my friends. It is Krista Hirschberger with Krista's Crafty, but today I am representing the Pages at Heart design team, and I am so excited for this month's kit that we created, the Scrapbooking Workshop guide that we created to make your own pages. And so I'm here today to share tips and techniques with you regarding these pages that I designed. And stay tuned because we have a new set of Scrapbooking Workshop guide each and every month with one of our fabulous designers designing that. So stay tuned to the first of the month when that is released. And actually we release a sneak peek on the last week of the month as well. So let's get started today. And I want to share with you the Everyday You and Me paper that I use from the Stampin' Up. It was actually in the scrapbooking brochure, but you can find it online. Just search for that Everyday You and Me and Everyday Happiness are the two things that go together. So if you're not familiar with our guide, actually, you're probably watching this if you purchased our guide. And with that, you know that our guides have the option of doing basic, better, best. And so what that is, we've created the pages as the best way that you can create them. But of course, these are your pages. And so they can be yours and you make them yours. How we list them out is the basic products are usually just the papers, and then the better would be adding the stamps in that, and the best would be all the fun things, I like to call them. The ribbon, the pearls, accents, that kind of thing. And so you have the option and you have your choice on what to do. Let me just show you a few things. Of course, there will be regular things that you'll probably have in your stash, like inks and tools and your adhesives and that type of thing that we just list there as well. We like to list everything we use just in case you'd like to see. But these are, I had used, let me see here, 5 ink pads, I believe. And I see that I'm missing one in my stash here. So these were the 5 that I used. The Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, Wild Wheat. This one is on the retiring list right now, or you'll find that in the last chance section. So those were the colors that coordinated with this paper pack. And let me show you how it comes. I did get the paper pack with the sticker sheet. It's Everyday Happiness. Everyday You and Me is the Scrapbooking Workshop kit that it's called, or that goes with. And you get all the papers in here. This is just how it comes packaged. The other paper items I used were the Everyday You and Me cardstock. And can you see that variety of colors in there? You get 12 sheets. And then the specialty Regal Distress papers, which you'll see. And they come, now mine are cut up, but these are the 3 patterns that are come. You get 6 sheets of that. Plus, you will need some base pages. I chose to use the very vanilla. So there was 4 sheets of those, but I chose to use that. You could use whatever you have in your stash for that as well. So let's take a look. If you're familiar with our pages, if you have bought our guides before, you will know that you can either get them as a free gift or you can purchase that. So free gift with any $50 purchase, that's before shipping and tax, on any of these designers' websites. Then if you do that, reach out to them, request that you would like this month's Scrapbooking Workshop guide or any in the past. Or if you'd rather not purchase, you can also purchase the guide, the workshop guide with the cutting instructions and everything for just the $20. And again, you can reach out to one of the 6 of us on the team. So what I'm going to do today is share some of these tips and techniques in the whole cutting guide, and it's all detailed. Pages 6 and 7, you're going to see something like this in this month's guide. It says helpful tips for creating a layout. And so I'm just going to do a closer look. If you're like me, seeing is better than reading sometimes. And so this is a video for that. I'm going to talk about the first and second generation technique, how to use the blending brush, and how I colored those paper butterflies. That is, oh, I didn't show you the best items in the kit. If you choose this peacock and gold ribbon is actually in the last chance right now, as well, meaning they won't be reordering it. And these antique pearls, of course, I'm sure you have gems in your stash too. The black marker, the Stampin' Right marker, which I'm going to use for these butterflies. And you get 8 sheets of these butterflies in one pack. And these are on the last chance too. Some of my favorites. But let's take a peek at these layouts. On layout 1 here, I'm going to show you close up of the clusters too, because while I did do close-up photos in the guide itself, it might be helpful for you to see this. And you see this is a sticker here, and here's where this second generation is, and you can see, I hope, some of that stamp blending that's going on here with the blending brush, and I'll show you that as well. Again, love the stickers in this pack because you've got some big, beautiful accents. And you'll notice here is that gold foil paper from the Regal specialty, but we colored it. And that's what a fun thing you can do with anything white is to color it with your inks, with your markers is a great way to do that. Layout 2 is this one here. And again, one thing you want to note with using any stamp set from Stampin' Up, and I use the textural floral. Now, you can see I have lots of extras in here, but this is not how they come. I put a magnet mat in there, and then I have all my dies on there. But you can see I love to cut extras and have them in there for a quick and easy card, right? But what you want to do is always stamp your image first and then die cut it. Stampin' Up, it's a beautiful job, has just a little edge around your stamps. So you will see in the guide that it will tell you exactly which stamps you need to stamp in the cutting guide and what colors you need to do them. It'll walk you through that, but just make sure you do the stamping first and then the die cut. So here's layout 2. Layout 3 is another fun one, again, using those beautiful stickers, but here's those butterflies, and can you see how it's kind of darker on the edges, and we're going to get lighter as we go in. I'm going to show you how to create that butterfly. We also got some of the second generation and some of the blending brush adding to the background. Hopefully you can see that a little bit here in the camera. It's just amazing what a little bit of ink does to give some added definition to your pages. And then layout 4 is actually, I really like this one, and I feel almost bad because this here is just one of the papers in the pack, the background page. And so again, here's a beautiful sticker, and you will see just some of the stamp and the die cut images. And again, that's all explained in the guide. But today I'm going to show you how to do that's first and second generation, which I think most of you are familiar with. So let's pull out, I'm just going to pull out a white piece of paper here. And that's kind of going to be our starting. I'm hoping that the glare, this is going to help take the glare away. And, oh, I see it. So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. And I did use, I believe, I should double check, but I used my Pretty Peacock ink. You know what? Let's hide the glare this way. And you can see all of those other ones here. But I use my Pretty Peacock ink. And what I suggest, so if you aren't familiar with these ink pads, there is a indent here where you're going to lift up and then it's going to slide. Okay. It is very spongy and wet. So what I'm going to encourage you to do, as you see here, let's just do this little cluster here. Can you see? Now, remember, this is white, and you can choose to use white if you'd like. This is the vanilla cream. I have white here. You see, there's not like necessarily a dark mark. and how we got that. And maybe you want a little darker part, and that's okay, but I want to show you how to come in softly. And so what we're going to do here is my pretty peacock. I have a blending brush, and I'm first of all going to take scrap paper as my friend. So I'm first of all going to take scrap paper just to make sure that it's dry. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of ink. I have used Pretty Peacock on here before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up, but I'm not going to go right to where I want to be. In the cutting instructions, it will tell you how far up from the bottom, how far in from the left side to make your color, your little definition of color behind where your cluster is going to be. But you see, I'm going to get ink, and I'm actually going to tap off on my glass mat and then come in, and I'm going to make sure I'm not off camera, tap off, and then come in where I want to be. And can you see how that, I'll show you the difference. How's that? And I'm not sure how well this is going to show on camera, but hopefully you can see that a little bit, okay? But let me show you what happens if I just go in with ink. So I'm going to go in, and let's just go over here. And do you see how it's just not as smooth? You never know where the ink's going to, like what bristle it's really going to get on. Does that make sense? I don't know if you can see this, but there's, you know, a darker piece there, and it's really dark here, and then it gets light, where I just like the subtleness of this one here when I tap off, and I have that. And so what I do is I have wipes nearby. I always have a paper towel here that I can rub away. And also I have a stamp chamois in one of our stamp cases, which is wet, and I can always wipe that away too. You have a way that works for you, but that's kind of what I do with that. Now, if you notice here too, you see that there's some light dots on these pages. I think I do that on the first and third layouts is my guess. And so that is this stamp right here. So let's pull that out here. That is, and you can see it's been used well. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit too, but you can see that there. And let me get my block. I'll tell you right now, the size B block at Stampin' Up! Is my favorite. I'm really liking that. And let me zoom in. Get a little bit closer at least, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Pecan Pie, and if you're not familiar with first and second generation or Stamping Off, you do need a piece of scrap paper, okay? And what it means is, let me show you this on the scrap paper. I'm going to ink up, okay? And let me show you this. This is my scrap paper. So this is first generation, second generation, third generation. Can't do a fourth. Well, we got a little bit, but I don't use fourth. But can you see, first generation is the true ink, inked up. Second is just ink, stamped off. You don't re-ink. And so what I did was second generation for these dots to just, again, to give it some texture and a little bit of fun, okay, with that. All right, so that's using the blending brush. Again, what you're going to do for here, for coloring, these, I did tear some of these pieces. Again, that's up to you. Let me pull that off, and then you'll be able to see that a little bit better. But do you see I tore the bottom pieces here? Again, you can do that, or you can just leave it straight, no problem. But this was the white paper here. Again, I use the same technique with the blending brush. I brought my blending brush in, I tapped off on my glass mat or on scrap paper or something, and then came in and started coloring that paper to make a color to match my layout design. Yay! Okay, so let's talk about these fun butterflies. I used a bunch of them, and what my goal was in, here, let me do this real quick, in getting the color there is to, you see here on layout 2, I actually just kept it white. And it's okay to do so. If you don't want to color yours, that's okay. But here, again, I did try to do darker on the end and bring it in as lighter. So let's do that. I'm going to pull out one of these butterflies here. And keep in mind with the butterflies, if you think, I don't have my butterfly's not turning that way, turning the right way, before you color them, figure out which way you want them to turn, because, friends, they punch out, right? And now that guy, I can turn him either way. Decide which way you want it to be before you color it, okay? So fun. Now, let's see if I can zoom in. And I want you, because what we're going to do here again is, I want to make sure I use the Pretty Peacock most of all. So let me close up my pecan pie. And we will let me just clean this while I'm at it, because you know ink gets everywhere if you don't do it right away. Okay, so here is the butterfly. And I actually did use scrap paper again, even though it's a little bit hard to see. I want you, if you have the Stampin' Write markers, I really, really like them. They are double-ended. The one is your bullet tip. And my understanding is these are different from, was it like 2 or 3 years ago? It has a different tip. If you have Stampin' Write markers from the past, this is a newer version. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact year, but then this end has that beautiful brush tip, okay? So look at this. I'm going to play just on the scrap paper where you can do pointy, or you can lay it on its side and get a much wider look. And so that's, and I'm going to just color some here. Is that going to go on the back? Make sure. Nope, doesn't come off, because now you can see the white there, right? Is that in far enough? And I do the body of the butterfly first. And what I'm going to do is actually try and keep it on the side. And let me pull this up. Where would the butterfly's body be to you, right? That's where I want the line to be. And so I'm going to make sure I'm in camera, and I'm going to just pull this sideways like that. And isn't that, now it's not perfect, and I'm going to go back to it and finish it up, but isn't that neat how that just kind of defined the butterfly body right there? And now I'm going to pull it out here, and I'm just doing the antennas, and see how that looks. Yep, that looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see that, but now I'm going to get ready to do the blending part. So that's how simple the marker is, okay? So I'm going to get my Pretty Peacock ink. And again, pull in this blending brush. Now this time, I don't necessarily have to stamp or dab off, because I actually want the ends to be darker. I know it's a little bit difficult to see this on here, but I think you'll be able to see it shortly. I'm trying to get where there's a little bit. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm actually going to start circles on my paper and come in from the edges. Am I in the way there? Okay. And like I said, I'm not necessarily stamping off, because I actually really want it dark right on the ends here. And then I'm going to keep coming in to make it lighter. Does that make sense? And so it may take a little bit, and it's up. I would encourage you to pull it away as well while you're doing this, because it doesn't look dark here. Oh, you probably can't see that. It doesn't look as dark. It looks darker here out off to the side than it does where I'm stenciling. I like to make pretty things when I stencil. So I know you don't need to put it back on there. We're not going to use this scrap paper for anything. But then you just want to be gentle, because there are a lot of pieces, or a lot of delicate pieces here. But again, it's up to you how dark you want to come in, and how much ink you want to have on it. Does that make sense? Okay. And so again, let's pull there. So I even left a little bit of white there. Can you see that? And so, yeah, it's totally up to you. I do have some other butterflies. Now, where did I put them? That I like, again, to make things and then have them all ready to go. And so this one you can add, now this is a little bit of extra, but I add Wink of Stella on the body or a shimmer brush. There's some dots. Here's another one I did. Again, he's just kind of like this one. This has a little bit more white. Sorry, I'm not in camera. Let me back up. Oop, there we go. Okay. And so it really is up to you and how much ink, how dark you'd like it to be. Again, you can see I did different varieties on my page. There's the large one. You don't have to do anything at all. Okay. Or you can do a lot, but it's amazing how that black marker really brings into effect. So those are the technique parts. Again, let me show you the ribbon. If that is one of the best options that you had, I do want to show you the ribbon and the different ways I use that. Let me close this up before we get that in. And now my pages are mixed up, so hold on with me here. All right. So the ribbon on layout 1, let's do this, is across the top, the actual part of the page. Do you see it? And it's on top of the papers. So I just added that. It was a little bit of extra, and I didn't even do a bow or anything anywhere. So it's just the bottom here and the top there. Okay. The next part, let me get rid of this guy. All right. Page 2, I only used a tiny bit of the ribbon, nothing on the right page, but here on the left page, just a touch of just knotting it like a bow. And when I do my ribbon, you probably already know this, my friends, but I will, let me grab my snips. You just can, I use it right off my roll, and I will tie it like so, and just adjust it accordingly. And I don't pull it tight until I like how it looks. Okay, and so that is like that. And was that close enough, I hope? And then I just angle it and I cut it, and that I feel is my least waste of ribbon. Okay, so just a tip for you there. So I use that knot tying or like that pretty often, because here on layout 3, you pull those pages in. I again added just one little bit, and you can see the antique clusters there as well, but did not add any on this side. Again, these are your pages, so you choose how you'd like it to be. And then on layout 4, I didn't use any ribbon at all, but again, here is the sticker, and then here's your extra butterfly out of the best option, but with just your stickers, and you will have a lot of stickers left over that you could just do the stickers, even if you wouldn't want to do the stamps, as that is one of the better option. If you don't want to use the stamps, or maybe you have a stamp in your stash, feel free to use that too. But there's some of the gems, and this is a sticker right here. It's just fun to do. Pop those up, and it just gives it a whole bunch. I see this here. I know this is in the instructions, but this is one sticker that was together, this one right here, and I cut it in half to give me 2 borders. Just aware. Again, that's in the instructions, but anyhow, I hope that was helpful today. Thank you for joining me. Again, this month's free gift with a $50 purchase, or purchase the guide itself just for the $20 from our Pages of Heart design team. We are excited to create these workshop guides for you each month, and look forward to sharing a new one soon. Thanks, my friends. Have a great time crafting. Bye.